Entering the shop today is not for the faint of heart. Here's what lies ahead. Got finishing the roll top desk. It was almost finished. I started 4 years ago. Then we moved. I'd like to get that finished. One reason the shop is in such disarray is process of mudding the office before we can finish the walls. As you look around, we saw the stained glass. That's for the transom. There's a hutch there that needs to be worked on. We're going to clean that up, paint it, repair it, and that's another hutch for our booth. This is another project from Project Land. 2 years ago, I purchased this radio, and I have plans for it. The latest acquisition, a Hoosier hutch, and I really want to do a job on that. It's missing some drawers and parts. It's going to be fun. It's going to look exciting. The next thing we're working on is that bench right there. This piece of furniture needs a small piece reproduced and made for it. Today, this is what we're working on. Making an awning for our booth. The awning was made out of furring strips, 1 inch by 2 inch, 8 feet long. Now I picked up 6 of those, and basically what I did was made 10 triangles for those. In a minute I'll show you the important part of the construction of those. It had to be the total length 10 feet long. We decided to make it come down 12 inches from the top of the booth wall. Knowing the height, took a scrap, and then we just laid it down until we found an angle that looked right. With that helped us to measure out. We found out that it needed to be 16 inches long. If you look here, I'm showing that right there is the most important part of those little triangles. We just simply cut a notch to set that one piece in. You can do that with a bandsaw, you can do that with a handsaw, or even a jigsaw. I did them on the bandsaw, just easier for me to do them that way. Because I was going to be putting those up by myself, I made the awnings in 2 separate pieces. And when they went together in the booth, I simply took 1 piece of tin to span the gap that would be there. Here you can see I'm putting a stain on. I didn't want the awning to look like it was made out of fresh wood. We wanted it to have an age of patina on it. I used the one type of stain, and then I'm going to turn around and put on this stain. The two together, it worked out pretty good. It looked pretty good. Got it in all the little crevices. Also, each screw I countersunk, just a little pride in craftsmanship, I suppose. But I pre-drilled everything because this is a soft wood. Those furring strips are basically pine. And by pre-drilling the holes, it just made it so that they wouldn't split out on me. If you look at the top and the bottom of each section, those stringers, the way that they were attached to the triangles, I made sure that on the top, the screws were on the lower part of that, and on the bottom, the screws were attached to the little triangles on the upper part. That would allow the tin to be attached at the very top and the very bottom when it's all put together. With everything stained up, I got ready for the tin. So we measured the distance, and for this little project, wound up being 16 inches, and we added just a little bit so that there was a small hangover. Made them 16.5 inches long each section of tin. Here you can see got the tin clamped down, held in place, jigsaw out, ready to cut that tin off. Now it's made out of aluminum. It's very flexible, very soft. I thought this would be the way to cut it. I made sure that my board was squared. It didn't work out for me. You'll see what I mean here in a moment. I tried cutting it again, and the tin just keeps bending on me with the jigsaw. So that just wasn't going to be the way to cut it. That wasn't working. I thought, well, I'll give it one more try. So I moved the tin out away from the wood that was clamping it down. And I thought, well, the jigsaw's not going to ride against the wood. But I had the same results, so I had to come up with a different way to cut it. Well, the heck with that. It's not going to work. So I went and got my grinder out, changed the blade to a metal cutting blade, and at this point I'm just going to cut the tin off, and we'll do it that way. Heck yeah, that's the way to go. So I cut that first cut, made it straight. I've marked my line for the second cut. That's the 16.5 inches. And then what I'm going to do is cut those again and again until I have enough tin for my roof. Again, just mark and cut until I've got all the pieces I need to go 10 feet. Cutting it this way with the grinder did leave the edges rough. You can see here. So what I needed to do was take that grinder and just work on those edges to get the rough part off so that we would never have to worry about somebody putting their hand up there, getting cut, or snagging some clothes or whatever when we're moving it. So it just took a few minutes again with that grinder. After grinding the edges smooth, I pre-drilled the holes to attach the tin to those frames. I didn't mention it before, but the rest of the project was put together with those same number 6 1-inch drywall screws, except for the stringers. I used 1 5/8 for those. This is the 2 sections put together.
It's for you, so.
We used some burnt umber. We channeled our inner Bob Ross to add some more patina to these awnings. We wanted them to look like they'd been there a long time, authentic and real. Soon after the paint dried, it was off to the booth with those sections to hang them up. I used 4 Stanley 3-inch L brackets. Again, these things are very light. This is what it looks like. Just an enhancement for our booth to give it the vibe that we were looking for. Here's a shot of that hutch that I had recently redone, and I'm going to attach a link to the video on that for you. I want to say thanks for watching. If you can give me a thumbs up, that's going to help my channel. And now it's off to Project Land. We will see you in the next one. Thanks.